for another edition of Faculty Spotlight. Joining us today is recent Golden Apple Award nominee, Gabriel Carranza. Mr. Carranza, how are you? Good morning.
Great, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for being here. What a great opportunity to highlight your recent nomination for Golden Apple Award. There was a banquet. What was that like? What was that experience like being nominated?
Well, that was a great experience. Never been nominated for the Golden Apple before, so being there was quite an experience to be amongst the great teachers of Laredo. Obviously, this is an honor that was presented. This is something that that I will definitely take back to me here in Laredo College and just help me better myself in receiving this award.
Yeah.
And moving forward from there.
Yeah. What do you teach here at Laredo College?
I teach mathematics, a variety of different areas in math, from developmental courses, which is our co-rec courses, to college algebra, business math, statistics, sometimes some calculus courses. So just a wide variety of courses here at Laredo College. I do also teach with the continuing ed department, GED math courses.
Okay.
So I also do that. And I do some mentorship for different programs, grants that are here at Laredo College as well.
Now, math is different because math never changes, right? Does math ever change? Is there anything in math that you can say, oh, wow, that wasn't around last year?
Not really, but we do get to see different applications now that we're moving more into a more technology type of setting. We do see how we could apply math in that aspect. Now we have, from 3D printing to AI, we do get to see how math does relate to that as well. And so now that we're evolving in that way, we do get to see now different ways how we can apply mathematics. And that's the beauty of math, is that you can apply it in many different ways. And so if we get to show our students how to do that, apply math, that's where we get to engage them and do things like that.
So when we were little and they taught us math, and we would always question, why am I going to need this later on in life? How do you answer that?
That could be a difficult question at times.
Yeah.
Usually when we have students take a specific math course, I'm glad to say that now we do have these pathways for our students, to where the math that we're teaching our students, we get to show them how it's going to be applied in their field. So for instance, I'll give an example. In our college algebra course, we talk about ibuprofen, which is Motrin, right? And we talk about how polynomial functions can relate to how long does ibuprofen stay in your bloodstream after you induced it. And so mathematically, we get to show that, right? Using math functions. We get to show our students how we apply this mathematics to, let's say, if you're going into the medical field, right? Statistics, we have had our students take them to the gym and get an in-body, a reading where it shows them how much muscle mass they have and other things, right? And so with this data, we get to use it within our classroom and apply it to statistics, right? So there's a lot of different ways how we can apply math and show them how it's going to be related to their field and how they use it. And I just think finding what you could relate it to, again, that's how we can engage them to learn more about it.
Well, honestly, you lost me at polynomial. So the students that you see, Mr. Carranza, are these core classes that they need to take? So everybody has to come through some sort of math course at some point? Is that accurate?
Yes. The students that we have, again, with the pathways, these are students that are going into either like the medical field, maybe going into criminal justice, some students that might be going into the kinesiology, just different fields of study. So that's why we do offer different math courses, right? We have our statistics for those who are going into maybe the nursing field. We have our business math, the ones who are going more into the business aspect of it, business math courses. College algebra and calculus coursework is going maybe more into STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So the courses that we offer here, pretty much students need those courses to go along their path of study.
Let's take a step back here and talk about your journey.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you get started? How did you get started? So forth and so on. Start to go as far back as you want.
Well, I mean, first off, I am very fortunate and blessed. I thank God that I found, I would like to say, my calling into having a passion into teaching. Although at first I didn't think that would be it, right? As when you're a kid. But, you know, my parents obviously were the ones who always instilled the education, which was great. And
what did you want to be as a kid?
Initially, when I was a kid, I enjoyed knowing about dinosaurs.
Okay.
So maybe something along those lines when I was
or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, didn't think math initially, right?
Yeah.
But
your parents had a lot to do with it.
Yeah. Education, just making sure that you did your homework, went to school, tried your best in school. And I have an older brother who works here as well, Dr. Gabriel Carranza. And a lot also goes to him as well. Growing up, someone I looked up to and also instilled education and works here at Laredo College as well as a kid. So, started off at graduated from Nixon High School, did a little bit of dual enrollment courses as a high school student, graduated from Nixon in 01. Actually, this is my old stomping grounds. Came in here to Laredo College with an honor scholarship. So, that was real nice. Came here, graduated with honors at Laredo College. When I was in high school, I took math courses and physics courses that engaged me, and I kind of reflect on that. And the best way I guess I could describe it is, as Sir Isaac Newton puts it, we stand on the shoulders of giants. And so, you take with these teachers that engaged you in learning. And so that's where I found the passion with math and physics was in high school. Then coming here to Laredo College, I took with physics courses with Professor Iniguez, who later became a dean here at Laredo College. Took some math courses with professors like Mr. Rico, Mr. McCary, Mr. Welch, all these great professors as a student. And that's when I started getting more into a passion into mathematics, physics, and continued with my education after getting my associates here at Laredo College, moved to TAMU, continued with my bachelor's, continued also with the honors program, scholarship, graduated with my degree there, and started working at United High School after that. Worked as a teacher for 6 years, mathematics, from 2005 to 2011. And then during that time, I was also taking courses for my master's, and that's when I applied here at Laredo College, and I came back to my old stomping ground. So it's real nice to come back and see where it all started, and now have the opportunity to give back to the students. Just when I was a student here, it was the same way.
Well, welcome back, and thank you for coming back.
Yes,
to Laredo College.
thank you.
You mentioned that your parents instilled education and how important that was, but they weren't really telling you to be a teacher, were they? They just told you to get educated.
Yeah, that's true. I think the passion for teaching probably came along earlier than what I thought. I've always enjoyed helping people understand math, and I guess it's something that you did as a younger kid, but you don't really think about it, right? And it wasn't until I started working as a tutor here at Laredo College. When I was a student here, I was doing some work study as a math tutor, and that's when I really picked up on the enjoyment of helping students. And from there, when I moved over to TAMU, I continued working with the OIT department, which is a technology department, and also did a TA, a teacher assistant for a physics professor at TAMU. And I started doing more tutoring with LISD at Lamar Middle School, and at the elementary school at Cage Harbor Elementary. And so I started getting a wide range of different ways to help students, right? As young as elementary to middle school, and then later becoming a teacher at the high school. So, you try to find that fine balance of, teaching, how to engage them, and so that's how, went down that path.
Were you that kid that would help other classmates, even as a young child?
Yes, I was. Yes, I'm guilty of that.
Because everybody hated that. So.
Yeah, 99.9% of the people I talk to probably say that.
Yeah, I'm there for sure.
But no, I when it goes back to teaching, I think it's all about building confidence. I think that's all it really is.
Yeah.
I was reflecting about this not too long ago, and I call it like the 4 C's, right? Where, the first thing is you want to make sure you communicate as a teacher. You want to communicate with your students. You don't want them to be, kind of scared as a student sitting in your classroom. And so communication is key. From them, even if it's just having a conversation about football, about maybe they're into a Marvel movie, or just building that communication with the student so they could feel then comfortable, right? Which is the next C, right? So once they feel comfortable in your classroom, now they get to open up a little bit more. So when you get to the next C, which is content, when you're teaching, they have that comfortability to ask questions, participate in the classroom. Now you kind of have that so-called friendship to where they are not intimidated by you. And then finally, that will then lead, in my eyes, confidence. And if they have that confidence in your classrooms to say, hey, you know what, I can do this. And I tell my students, you can do it. It's just a matter of, putting in the effort, doing the work, being comfortable to ask questions in class. And I think that's what leads to student success, ultimately.
I mean, they have the ability.
Correct. Yes.
They decided to make the leap to college and try. So that's fascinating that you don't focus on the ability, you build on that ability that each student has.
Correct.
Is that accurate?
Yes, most definitely. And as mentioned before, whenever I talk to students or when I bump into students, I always tell them, I know you can do this. I knew you could do this once they finish with the class. And I just think it's that initially we have students that just don't have the confidence.
Yeah.
And if you give them that confidence that you can do it, you have the ability to do it. And sometimes, yes, it takes sacrifices, right? From staying up late to study, maybe having to do a research paper for another class. And that's what I tell the students is that, you do have to ultimately also put in the effort. I'm here to help you, teach you, and we have our office hours and all this stuff and be able to guide you. But ultimately, it also does take some determination on your part, and I tell them that sometimes determination is something that students can do as long as they put the effort into it, have that determination to do it.
Now, you've obviously been helping others since you were a child and when you were in elementary and so forth and so on, people would come to you. But when did that light click, that you wanted to do that as a career? I mean, you mentioned you started to build more interest in high school, but when did the little light go off and say, you know what, I want to do this for a career?
I think it's college, being a tutor.
Really?
at TAMU, as a teacher assistant. And as I mentioned, tutoring at LISD at the middle school level.
So, but I have to ask. So, what was the plan then? If it really wasn't solidified until you started tutoring at the college level, what were you going to do with the degree? What did you want to do? Was it to teach already, or?
Ultimately, my degree is in mathematics. That's my Bachelor of Science in Mathematics with a minor in physics. With my bachelor's. Initially, I said, okay, let me go into teaching, see how that goes, right? Because it was uncharted territory a little bit, just the experience of being a tutor. And that's when I applied at UISD and started working at United High School in 2005. And the first year was a little rough because you're learning, right? And my coworkers would tell me, just find that fine balance. They would give me little advice on how to handle, students, classroom, not, having that fine balance of respect in the classroom. And year after year after that, it's just started to get better, perfecting the art of teaching. And I think ultimately it's the enjoyment of seeing student success. That's what really motivated me to be better. How can we engage them so they could achieve their goal and pass a math class? Or, sometimes when, I teach with the continuing ed department, GED classes, these are students who want to continue with education. They want to take courses here at LC. They want to, get an associate's or go into one of the programs where they offer certificates. So their first goal is to pass the GED exam. So, I get that drive and that motivation. How can I help them achieve that so they could further themselves and continue taking courses at Laredo College, where most of the students continue to further their education and their studies.
Can you compare what high school teaching is like to college teaching?
Sure. High school teaching, I'm going to be honest with you. In 2011, when I graduated with my master's degree, I call it bittersweet because I truly enjoyed teaching at United High School.
Okay.
6 years, I was there for 6 years, and I debated whether it was a good idea to come to Laredo College. As much as that's what I wanted, my goal was, to get my master's, when I'm older, apply at Laredo College and teach as a professor. I didn't think it would be that soon.
So you wanted to come back to
I wanted to, but I just felt it was a little too early in my eyes at that time. I was only 6 years into the district. I started at 22, 23, teaching at the district, and I was there for 6 years. And I feel like I'm pretty involved here at Laredo College in different programs and stuff that we have here. And so I had that same drive at United. I would go to the baseball games. I helped out with UIL. There was different ways how I was involved in the high school. So I threw in my application after I graduated with my graduate work and said, oh, it'll be a few years until they'll call me. They put in the pool for callback if you were going to apply here later. And I thought, you never know, maybe it'll be 10, 12 years and they'll call me. When I put in my application in May, they called me like 2 months later.
Oh, wow.
For an interview.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh gosh, I didn't think it would be that soon. As much as I wanted to come here, I just wasn't ready for that at that time.
Yeah.
And since things were, in my eyes, were going great at United, the team there was pretty united, just like here in the math department at Laredo College, the same at United. We just all helped each other. We were all involved. We had that camaraderie together. And so I doubted myself. Am I doing the right thing to leave United UISD and move over to Laredo College? And I'm happy to say that I did do the right decision. I mean, I love it here. I just think that sometimes we have to just give it a shot, right? We don't know what it holds for us and how things work out, but I'm happy to say that I'm able to grow here. We have a great department here where everyone helps each other in the math department, from our department chair, my co-workers. Like, we get to do a lot of events with our students. As I mentioned also with the mentorship with the grants, I'm happy to say that that's something that I could do here at Laredo College. Leaps Power is one of the grants that I'm part of as well. And we have students who do research, and then they basically, some of these students, they compete in their research, So we had one of our students compete in Pittsburgh with their research. I'm also a mentor for the bachelor's program for the BAS ORGL, Organizational Leadership. We have students who that have a culminating project with Sacred Heart, and we have another one coming up with the Imaginarium here at Laredo College. So there's just a lot of opportunities here to try different things as an educator.
Yeah.
I get to help out also with the continuing education department with GED courses. So there's just a lot of room for trying different things.
Yeah.
You love teaching. Is okay, what else can I do with this? How else can I impact students and grow even more by just trying out something, right?
But I think that's the key to your success, because you could just come, teach your classes, and be done with it.
Correct.
But you see getting involved not only at the academic level, but also at other levels.
Yes.
With the students. You see that as vital to your role, don't you?
Yes, I do. These are our future, law enforcement. These are our future doctors, our nurses. These are our majority of our students are going to be within our community as they are already, and helping them reach their goals is exciting as an educator.
Yeah.
And being able to assist in different ways other than just teaching, I just think it's a great experience.
So then you started at Laredo College in 2012?
2011.
So you started in 2011?
Yes.
So you've been here since then?
Yes,
Wow.
14 years. So total, I have 20 years in education. 6 years at UISD and 14 years here at Laredo College.
You know, you mentioned that you, at the time, you didn't think you were ready. Why would you say that?
You mean to transition?
To transition, yeah, to the college
Because I
level.
really enjoyed teaching at United.
Okay.
I did. I loved it. And not to say...
So you were ready, you just weren't sure
if it was at that
if you wanted
time,
to do it at that point.
Because you have something good going,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, is it going to be the same here, or is it going to be equivalent or less? You're not too sure, although I knew that coming here was going to be ultimately a great experience.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure if it was that time, ready to do something like that. But I was blown away. Now that I reflect on everything, it's like I'm so glad that I did get to come to Laredo College and continue teaching here, because, as I mentioned, it's just a lot of room for growth, participation, trying out different programs that they have here that you can help out with. And the college itself, it's a great community here with the other departments as well. As I mentioned earlier too, I've had connections with different departments. For instance, when we have events like Pi Day, for instance, I got in touch with the culinary arts department, so we collaborated with them. When our math department, did that. When I've done little projects with our students, I got in touch with the kinesiology department with Dr. Perez. He was kind enough to use equipment, which is the in-body equipment, to be able to use for our statistics students here. So I would tell our students, we're going to go on a field trip. We're going to go to the gym, So we walked over there, a little field trip. We walked over there. Believe it or not, some of the students didn't even know we had a gym that was of that caliber here on campus. And so they were able to tour that. And so it's just, again, being able to show them different things, experience different things. As I mentioned, we've had students that we took to Pittsburgh. Some of our students probably haven't traveled in that area. So just to give them that experience to do something like that and then present their research amongst thousands of students is amazing. And so being a part of that just brings me enjoyment.
And what I'm learning through talking to faculty and students is that everyone just loves Laredo College. We did not meet beforehand, and I didn't tell you, hey, you've got to say all these nice things about the college, right? So,
yes.
And that's the case with everybody. I let them speak, and they can say whatever they want, and we have gotten, I have learned that so many people are appreciative of Laredo College.
Yes.
And you've mentioned so many reasons why.
Yes.
Last couple of questions. How would you describe the LC student?
I would describe an LC student as a student who has made the very big first step of taking the initiative to better themselves in education, right? Higher education. And so our goal, I strongly feel, as educators and as our counselors are here, or administrators, our goal is to guide them reach whatever success that drove them to make that first step come here enjoyable, but at the same time reach it. That's how, and that's our goal as a community here at Laredo College. How can we help our students reach their goal by them taking that first step to come here? That's already a big step, and that's what I tell my students, that believe it or not, you, by just sitting in the chair here in the classroom, you already took a big step. Sometimes, unfortunately, we have people that we talk to that say, I want to go to college, but maybe don't take that first step.
Yeah.
And these students that do take that first step, it's like, okay, you're here. We're going to help you as best as we can to reach your goal. At the same time, remember your responsibilities and sometimes we do, as I mentioned too, sacrifices that you need to do to reach your goal as well. But we're going to be here to help you as best as possible as we can. So the best way I could describe these students that we have here at Laredo College is they're wonderful. These are students who want to learn. These are students who, they're very social. A lot of the students that we talk here, they're very social. At first, they may be a little timid, at first, but once you get to talk to them and communicate with them, I think a lot of these students, you open up a door that I think that they didn't even know that they have within themselves. And when we have events here at the college, from, Halloween events, the Christmas events that we have here, and within our department, like Math Awareness and Pi Day and Oktoberfest, all these events that we have here, I think students get to open up a little bit more and be able to help out here at Laredo College. And a lot of these students end up even helping out as these events come out, they end up helping as part of the event itself, selling things and being part of different booths. There's a lot of events where students also participate in.
Yeah. So once you get them in the classroom, you teach them the 4 C's. Of
Are you
the 5th C?
Yes.
So now you can make the 5 C's.
Yes, the 5
4
C's.
Last question, Mr. Carranza, what do you do when you're not teaching? And you're obviously very involved here.
Yes.
So what do you do when you're not doing anything in Laredo College?
Spend time with family.
Yeah.
I get to spend time with my wife, my kids, my 3 kids. We just get to do a lot of things that I think that they love to do, right? We get to do a little bit of traveling, get to take them to the movies, get to just really bond with family. I'm real connected with family, so when it comes to my wife's family, my family, we just get together and birthday parties, things like that. So I just my enjoyment is spending time with family ultimately.
Still going to ask you the next question because I know you spend a lot of time with your family. Movies? Do you like watching movies?
Oh yes, most definitely.
Do you have a favorite movie?
I would probably say
it's going to be math related.
There's a few movies that are math related, but I'm a big Jurassic Park fan, so I love that.
You still like the ones that come out? You like the new ones?
Yeah, I'll still watch them, and my kids love them too. So I think that's why. I still get to relate to some of those movies. I remember as a kid seeing those movies, so I still love those movies.
But you have at least one child who's of age or the same age as some of the students here.
Yes.
Does that help you in any way? Like, do you kind of use that in any way?
Yes. My oldest son Andres, he's gonna be 20 this year. I get to see how he's grown, right, and evolved, and I see my students, and I see him because he's also going to college, and I do tell him, I know how things work, so if you ever need help with things, in the sense of guidance with college and stuff, questions, anything related to when he's applying for something or anything like that, I get to guide him. So I feel like I get to help them in that aspect, and when they're in related to education, we get to help them out. My wife is also a teacher in the elementary school, so she also gets to guide them in her own way. I guess she takes care of them when they're smaller. She gets to guide them more because they're younger, and as they get older, I guess with that experience with high school / college, if they need help with things, I get to help out in that aspect.
So it's like a sports system. She's got the minor league, and then you have the big leagues here at the college. I always say last question, and I ask like 3 more, but last question. What kind of music do you like to listen to?
Oh, I love all type of music. Believe it or not, while I'm working, I love to listen to music at the same time. It could be from country to classic rock, all types of music I like to listen to. It could be Tejano. I will just play it. In fact, sometimes when I'm working in my office or even in the classroom that I'm alone doing any paperwork I need to do, I'll turn on that radio and just listen to music. I like to do that.
Yeah. Mr. Carranza, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I can tell by you can see it when somebody smiles that they really enjoy what they do. So congratulations on the nomination.
Thank you again.
Thank you for all that you do for Laredo College, and continued success.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that.